Hello fellow stackers, 365 here, welcome back to my channel. So this is a quick update on the current progress of disputing this package with eBay. Now I want to give you a few facts to take into consideration when deciding whether it was the actual sender that is trying to scam me here. Now, on my first initial impression, when I first opened this package, and for those of you that missed my very first video, I will link it in today's video description, but I basically was sent a Xbox 360 game instead of a 10-ounce Royal Canadian Mint bar. Now, this is a vintage bar. It contains a very high premium. They're limited in numbers, and it's something that I've really wanted to add to my stack for a number of years now. I would say at least a couple of years now I first saw this bar, and I believe I first saw it on Silverstruck's channel, and as soon as I saw it I knew that that was an item that I'd love to add to my collection in the future, and I finally found one for a fairly reasonable price. You can see what I paid for it there, considering the premiums that I saw on other bars. And when it arrived, this is what was inside. Now, my first initial thoughts was that I'd been scammed by the seller on eBay. They had sent me this instead of the 10-ounce bar, and they had scammed me. Now, a number of things have happened since that initial video. First thing I did was I reached out to eBay and I raised the dispute. I took a photo of what I was sent and I contacted eBay, and they said within 48 hours they're going to investigate it and come back with an outcome. So eBay is already looking into it. I also went back and had a little look at the seller's profile. Now, like I've said on this channel many times before, when buying silver on eBay, it is very risky. Whenever you buy silver from any secondhand market, it has an element of risk. Unless you're going directly to a mint or to a main bullion dealer and buying silver brand new, you always take an element of risk when you're buying on the secondhand market. Now, I've always said when you're buying on eBay, always look to buy from a reputable seller, someone that has a minimum of 1,000 positive feedbacks, and also someone that specializes in selling precious metals. So what I mean by that is if you look at their seller profile, click on seller's other items, and it will give you a list of all the other things that the seller is selling. And if they have lots of different other items that are also precious metals or precious metals related, then it shows you that they know what they're talking about, and it shows you that most of their feedback is going to be from people that have brought precious metals. So if you click on their seller's other items and they've only got a handful of precious metals or no more precious metals for sale, and all the other things they're selling are, I don't know, trainers, clothes, whatever it may be, it shows that that person might not necessarily be experienced with precious metals, and therefore they might have actually sold you something that is fake without even knowing. So that is what I've always said to people, and that is what I've always followed myself. Now, this particular seller that I brought this from, and I'm not going to tell you the exact figures because I don't want people to look into it and find out who the seller is until I get to the bottom of it, because at the moment we're still in the early stages of working out what's happened. So I don't think it's fair that I share the seller's name and everything at this stage, because as we're digging into this, it appears to me like it is not him that has tried to scam me. Now, I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to tell you exactly his stats on eBay because I don't want him to be identified, but he has sold over this number, he has sold over 55,000 items on eBay. So that's how many items he has sold, over 55,000 items on eBay. He's also got I'm not going to say the amount number, but let's say he's got over 2,000 followers on eBay. So there's over 2,000 people that have also followed him on eBay as well, because they bought things from him in the past and they want to be notified when he lists something new. So they are two huge numbers in terms of his profile on eBay. And with all of those sales, with those over 55,000 sales and all of those people that are following his selling page, he also has 100% positive feedback. So let that sink in. He's got over 55,000 sales and 100% positive feedback. Now, when you click into the items that he's selling, he is selling hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of pieces of silver, whether it be silver coins, bars, or rounds. So this is a type of seller that I would 100% recommend. If someone had sent me a screenshot of this bar that I had picked up and said, would you say this is a reputable seller on eBay? I would have said 100%. I can't see any red flags there. 55,000 plus items sold, 100% positive feedback, over 2,000 people following him. Definitely not going to get any issues there. And that's not been the case. This is what I was sent instead of a 10-ounce bar. So that is why I would say to you, I'm not going to be sharing the person's username just yet, because after filing the complaint with eBay, because I wanted to do that as a first port of call to get things moving with eBay, the second thing I did was I reached out to the seller. I sent him a photo of what I'd received, and we had a little back and forth, getting to grips with it and explaining exactly what I have received. He was asking things like, was there an invoice inside? Because he always includes an invoice. And I said, nope. The only thing that was inside was this bubble wrap that it was wrapped up in. So straight away for him, that was a red flag as well, because he said he always puts invoices in with his silver items that he sells. Now, the next thing we noticed, well, this is what I noticed actually. The next thing I noticed, because I was trying to work out, okay, if the seller hasn't sent me the DVD or the PlayStation, the Xbox game, who has swapped this out? Now, if you look at this wrapper, apart from obviously the rip that I put in it with my knife to unpackage it in the first place, there is no other, and I'm going to cover up my address on the other side, there is no other signs of tampering on this package. There's no other cuts or slits anywhere around this whole package. I've looked all the way around, there is nothing. So the only way that this would have been replaced is by someone opening this very, very carefully. Now, when you look at this closely, the sticky does look like it could have been peeled up and then put back down. It does look like it could have been, because it doesn't look like it's stuck on really, really tight. So that's another possibility. But then this label, this invoice label, customs label, was in here, and this has been stuck over the seal. So that made me think the person that's put this customs label on, maybe that's the person that has opened this, taken out the bar, popped this in, and then closed it, and then used this as a way of sealing it again. So that was my first thought, and that was my first idea of how this has been replaced. The second thing I noticed, what I think is really, really important to the whole situation, is I wanted to know how far along the line, if that was the case, if that's what's happened, I wanted to know how far down the line has this been replaced? Has it been replaced with the DVD, with the PlayStation game? I keep saying DVD, but you know what I mean. By my mailman, the person that's delivered it to me, have they pulled over in their van and they've swapped it out in their van? That was my first thought, because I thought, how close is it to my house? Has my house been compromised, because now the person that delivers the mail to my front door, does he know that I buy precious metals? And that was my first concern. I was thinking, how far down the line has this been compromised? Now, what I noticed on this Xbox game is the rating is teen. Now, that is not the ratings that are used on Xbox games in the UK. In the UK, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, I believe it is not NTSC, it would say PAL, P-A-L. And I believe that it's a different company that rates the games. We don't have such thing as a teen rating here in the UK. This would say 13 or 12 or 7 or 5 or 18. It would say an actual number, an actual age, not teen. So that's the thing I noticed on the actual game itself. I believe that this is a USA version of the game as opposed to a UK version. So that makes me believe that this has actually been swapped out before this has actually entered the UK, because of the rating on the game. So there's a lot to take in on this video, and I have kind of just rabbled on, gone backwards and forwards a little bit with some of my findings, but I think it's quite important to document this whole journey, because no doubt, if this has not happened to you already, this could happen to you down the line. You could get ripped off by someone on eBay. And like I said, it's not necessarily always going to be the seller's fault. It could be someone along the whole process, especially when it's coming from America, and there's so many different processes and procedures and facilities that it travels through. There's a lot of hands that have been on this parcel. Now, the final thing that I want to bring to your attention is something that's on the other side of this, and I'm just going to cover up my address details again. Now, on the other side of this, it says Germany. It says from International Shipping Germany. Now, I went back and I didn't even notice this. This is what the seller noticed, because he asked me to send him a copy of this side so he could look at this side and see if he could notice anything that didn't look right. And the first thing he noticed was this was from Germany. Now, he checked the tracking, and at no point does this parcel that he sent go anywhere near Germany. So the reason it says Germany on here, we do not understand. Has it been accidentally swapped when it's gone through the facilities? Has this parcel come from Germany and it's meant to be going to someone else, and somehow the address labels have been swapped and someone actually ordered this, and instead of getting this, they've got a nice 10-ounce vintage piece of silver turn up at their door? We don't know. It's a real mystery at the moment, and it's a real shame that at the moment we're no further forward in getting to the bottom of what's happened here. So I'm going to wrap up the video there, coming up to 10 minutes long, and I'll be very interested to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Please reach out and let me know if anything like this has happened to you before. Like I said in my previous video, this has not happened to me before. I've never been scammed on eBay. So this is all new to me. I don't really know what the correct procedures are. I don't really know what the outcome's going to be. So yeah, there we go. We're no further forward, but that is a quick update for you. But yeah, like I said, please let me know in the comments section if this has happened to you. Let me know the outcome. Let me know the procedures further down the line. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. It's still a mystery at the moment. But yeah, I hope you have a very nice day.